And I'm Haley.
And you're listening to Chronically Iconic,
where we talk about chronic illness and literally everything else.
So, Haley, what's your number today?
I'm feeling like a 6, maybe a little bit higher than what it was last week.
6.5?
Yeah.
6.5?
Just a 6.
Okay.
But I had to run some errands this week and do some stuff. But
on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard are errands for you?
Depends on the day. Like, today wasn't that bad because it wasn't super hot, but then it was hot. It, like, changed really fast. But, like, days that it's, like, ridiculously hot, like 100 degrees,
I
don't want to
get
get
out.
out.
Moving when it's too hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but driving takes a lot of energy
I
for
love
me.
driving.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
I
I'll
didn't
drive
know
us
that.
everywhere.
We should have, like, talked before
Yeah.
this. You could have picked me up. So for me, driving is, like, it just takes energy away from me. I don't like it. I think it's because, like, I have to be really aware because you're driving a vehicle.
Yeah.
That could potentially cause issues. Anyway, yeah. So.
I listen to podcasts when I drive. And
do you listen to us?
I'm
just kidding.
Yeah. No, I listen to Ladies and Tangents. Slight
shout out.
Yeah, I freaking love them
guys.
so much. But I feel like I'm like having a conversation, and so it like helps me focus.
Yes.
But yeah.
Cool.
What's your number today?
My number is an 8.
Oh.
I'm kind of up there.
Yeah, you
kind
are.
of hurting. But I honestly think that it's more of like I'm just out of it. So brain fog.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, brain fog is very common with a chronic illness, and I think the way that I would describe it is you just can't think straight because you have so much going on.
Yeah.
But it's constant and it's heavy and it's like a cloud, and it's sometimes my brain fog is so much that I don't drive because it can be dangerous.
Yeah.
And you always want to think of others first when you're going to get behind the wheel. So I think that's how I would describe brain fog for me.
It's almost like you've taken sleeping medication like melatonin or like Benadryl, and then when you wake up, you don't know where you are. Like,
but
you
like
feel like you're floating, kind of like that. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's a good way to describe it. So, back to my number.
Sorry.
I'm an 8, but it's mostly due to brain fog. I'm just having trouble concentrating.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We'll go eat popcorn and take a nap.
Yes, after this for sure.
Okay, so today we're talking about, it's called Chronically Curious. We're just talking about, like, what questions are okay for people to ask people with disabilities, and, like, how comfortable we are with sharing people we don't know with our diagnosis, if that makes sense. So today I just wanted to share a few questions with Ari and like see her opinion on these questions versus my opinion, because all of our journeys are different. So my first question is it okay to ask someone what their disability is or why they're using mobility aids?
Totally, but please phrase it in a respectful way. Please don't come up to me and be like, what's wrong with you? So why are you in a wheelchair? What happened to you?
Yeah.
Because that's very harsh and rude and just is unpleasant.
Yeah. So versus someone you know, like if someone you know came up to you and they were like, can I help you? What's going on with you? What's your disability? Why are you using this? Versus someone you don't know, would it be different for you?
Yes and no. I want to say yes because if it's somebody that I'm comfortable with, I'm going to feel more comfortable sharing, obviously. But if it's someone I don't know, I would like to think that I would still share with them because how else will anyone know? How will our world become more accepting of disabled people and disabilities unless we tell people? So I want to say that I would share equally, but I probably wouldn't just because if I don't know you and you come up to me, but I don't know. I don't use a wheelchair currently, so I don't want to answer like a blanket statement for people who do use a wheelchair. What about you?
Yeah. I use mobility aids more than not. I often use a cane when I flare because I'm not able to walk. I don't really use my wheelchair that often anymore, but I have like in the past year. I think someone I know versus someone I don't know, I feel like it's very different. Someone I know, if they asked me what my disability is and like why I'm using it, I would absolutely tell them if they asked me in a respectful way.
So if you're in the grocery store and say you're using your chair, if a stranger comes up to you, what would you like for them to say?
Like, if they're asking what my disability is, or if they're asking why I'm using a mobility aid, I really don't know.
Like, if we're in Walmart and I come up to you and you have a wheelchair, first of all, I like to think that I wouldn't be like, so how did you get in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Like, part of me is like, acknowledge that I'm in a chair, yes, but also don't see the chair first, see me first.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Again, I'm not using a chair currently, so I don't feel like I have a whole lot to say on the topic, but I do know that I would rather acknowledge it than act like you don't see it at all.
If it's someone I know and someone I don't know, I would rather them acknowledge that I'm using a mobility aid and then not have to say anything about it. You know? Like,
how do you acknowledge it?
I don't know, and I think that's the hard thing. It's just like, I really don't know, and I think that's something that I need to think about.
I know for me, like, with my disability, you can't see it, but when people open the door for me, please do that.
Yeah.
The door is so heavy, and that takes energy, and I literally love it when people open the door for me. And when you're in a wheelchair, I feel like people don't know what to do. Do they open the door for you, or do they not? Because
most of the time they do when you're in a wheelchair.
Do you want someone to do that all the time?
Okay. But when you're, I don't know if people have different experiences than I have, but whenever you're in a wheelchair versus when you use canes or crutches, they treat you completely different.
Okay.
That has been my experience. When I feel like we've gone on a different tangent, but whenever I've used my wheelchair, people were like, let me push you, let me help you, versus whenever this is from high school, so not recently, because I'm not using one right now, but they're like, let me help you, and then I moved to crutches, and then to a cane, and then it was almost like, she can walk, she can do it by herself. But
do you want people to push you when you're in your chair?
Well, depends on the person. I feel like people need to respect boundaries. Like, don't touch my chair if I didn't tell you could.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
I had a lot of people touch my chair, and I was like, you need to respect the bubble.
Respect the chair.
Like, there's people that can and there's people that can't. And there's reasons, because I want my own personal space, and this is all that I have.
Would this be a fair statement to make? I was in a chair for a couple of months. If it's a family member, please push my chair.
Yeah.
If it's a family member. If you are not a blood relative, don't touch it unless I say, hey, can you push me to XYZ?
Well, I think
I didn't feel like, as a disabled person, I feel like I have no control over my body.
Yeah.
And when I was in my chair, that was the one thing I could control, was where I went in my chair. And it's almost like when someone just starts pushing you, it's like
stressful.
They've gone too far, they've pushed a boundary. I don't have any control over where you're going to push me. And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I had, in high school, I had the people that took me to certain classes, but nobody else, like I had the certain people, and then my family, and then people that I was like, hey, I need your help, but, that was it.
Is this a fair statement? Don't touch my chair unless I give you permission.
Yeah. Yeah. Respect the boundaries.
Yeah.
But I think something that I need to, like, think about myself is, like, strangers, like, okay, let me rephrase this. I think something that I need to rethink about is, like, strangers asking why I'm using a mobility aid. I really don't think it's any of their business.
Interesting. Okay.
Because,
elaborate.
If you don't know me personally, like, if I need your help, like, if I have fallen on the ground in the grocery store and I need your help, of course I'm gonna tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But if we are walking in the grocery store and you're like, why are you using that? And you're a stranger, like, why do you need to know? Like, what are you gonna gain?
It's probably not important or not appropriate for an adult stranger to ask, why are you in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Okay. So
personally, this is my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you can disagree or agree.
I almost feel like it would be a fair statement to say, in general, if you're a grown adult, don't ask a stranger in a wheelchair how they got there.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't want people to ask unless because I want to have control over that conversation.
Yeah, and I feel like every person should be able to control that conversation and the conversation over their journeys and, like, their seasons of life. And if I have to, in the middle of the grocery store, start spilling out...
I'm just here for my toothpaste.
Yeah, I'm literally here for my toothpaste. I don't think it's fair, and I think that we should be... Because, like, I don't feel like if I'm going through Walmart in my wheelchair and someone's like, hey, how'd you get there? I don't know you. We live in the same town. I have no idea who you are. Why do you get to know?
So do you think it would be a fair statement to say, if you're an adult, or you know better, you know, that's a personal boundary, but say, like, a kid wants to know.
I feel like kids are different because I wrote this down, and I don't know if anybody will agree with me, but I love when kids ask questions about mobility aids, like, when they see things that are different, because they are learning. Adults already know. They should know if they educate themselves.
Yes.
I got a text. I think because kids are learning, and when they stare and then, like, their parents are like, no, don't stare. You're making it seem like it's a bad thing, and it's not. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I agree.
But when kids stare and their parents are like, yeah, you can ask questions if they're okay with it, like, that makes it seem like it's not a bad thing.
Right. I think kids are, while they're learning, that's the time for them to know.
And learn,
like,
respect.
Yes, because if you make a big deal out of it, then it becomes a big deal. But if you are, it's not a big deal, just ask. Yeah, it's okay. Like, it's okay for a kid to stare. I feel like, I agree with that. I feel like if a kid is staring, that's okay. If they want to ask, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it just needs to be done in a respectful way, you know? So, parents, please... Oh, I have the hiccups. So, parents, just make sure your kids are respectful about it.
And I think that's the same thing with service animals, because they are mobility aids.
Yes.
Like, when kids try to pet the animals, and I saw a TikTok the other day where this dad had his kid, and this girl was with her service dog, and the kid was like, Dad, that's a service dog. And he was like, yeah. And she was like, you can't pet it though. And he was like, yeah, it's a service dog. And, like, she knew because he had taught her boundaries.
Right.
And I think we need to teach adults boundaries, because kids learn before adults, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned service dogs. So I had a service dog who has kind of graduated and is now just a normal dog.
We love Charlie.
His name's Charlie Brown. I love him. He's a Shih Tzu. But yes, don't touch the service dog. No. The service dog is working. That's a boundary too. I guess this should be about boundaries. I don't know, but I guess it's all about the boundary and respecting that. And it's okay for kids to be curious, but adults, you need to take initiative and educate yourself first.
If a child that's, like, in elementary school, middle school, like, you're learning, you're seeing new things. Like, that's all right. But if you're 50 years old and you're asking me why I'm in a wheelchair, you've seen people with mobility aids before.
You should know better.
You don't need to know.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad you agree. Okay.
I think we agree.
My next question. Let's see. Okay. This kind of piggybacks off of that. Well, okay, I'll do this one first. How do you ask a disabled person if they need help?
This is a hard one because I don't like being asked if I need help.
I don't either.
Because independence, for me personally, is so important. So important. Because it's difficult to be independent when you have a disability. And in a lot of cases, you can't. And so, obviously, it depends on the person and the disability. But things like opening the door, please open the door for me. Please let me walk in front of you. If you can go down the stairs first, in case I fall.
Yeah.
Things like that. But I can carry things myself.
Yeah.
I think I would rather you wait until I ask for help.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather ask for help.
I agree.
Than you offer it first. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I think especially with our little friend group, like, they know when we need help, and they know not to ask us if we need help. They know that we'll ask when we need it, and I think that's the best thing ever.
It allows you to, like, be a person.
Be independent, yeah, and I love that about them, is that they're not like, oh, you need me to do this, you can't do this. Like, they're like, no, you're independent, like, you're able, like, do it on your own until you need my help.
And the only thing that I can think of, again, is, like, opening the door. But, like, if I drop a pen...
Yes, I hate the floor.
It is very difficult with a chronic illness to pick things up.
Yeah.
But, like, our friend group, like, if I drop a pen, someone will usually pick it up for me, which is huge. People don't realize how big of a deal that is. So, like, I guess things... I don't even know how to categorize those kinds of things. Like,
so I think, for me, if I don't know how to say this. I wouldn't necessarily ask if they needed help unless, they looked like they were.
If they drop something.
Yeah.
If I look like I'm gonna drop something.
If they look
which
like
is a
they
very
needed
obvious
help,
cry
but
for help.
most of the time, or all of the time, they're doing this on their own and they are thriving. So they probably got it. So they probably don't need your help.
So what was the original question?
How do you ask? I put how do you ask a disabled person if they need help?
Don't.
Yeah.
I'm
Unless
just gonna say don't.
Ask for your help, don't.
They'll ask you. We'll ask you.
And
other than that, just use your manners and keep the door open.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think
open the door for ladies. That was my little song. I promise I don't sing like
we're
that.
gonna monetize that now.
Please. That can be all your ringtones. Okay. That was this next question is gonna be kind of funky.
Bring it on.
So, is it okay to joke with someone about their disability if you know them versus if you don't know them?
Yikes. This is a touchy one.
I know.
You're right.
Because we do all the time, but we are friends.
I think that do not joke with, don't. Like, if I joke about it first, then yes. But, like, I'm gonna decide what we can laugh at and what we can't regarding an illness. And I will say that it's tricky because it depends on the day.
Yeah.
If I'm having a bad day, it's not funny. So I would say pick up on, like, read the room.
Social cues.
Read the room. Social cues. Like, if you can tell someone's, like, having a tough day, you're not gonna be like, oh, chin up, buddy. Like, no, that's not helpful in any type of way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say read the room, social cues, and don't make jokes unless I've done that in the last, like, 5 minutes of us being in a conversation.
Yeah. I think, personally, if you don't know me, do not make jokes about my disability.
I feel like that's also, like, once we're good friends, then, like, you know, but...
Well, when we first met, it was very different than any other relationship that I had ever had. But it was just amazing, which we probably should make a whole
probably.
Yeah. But, I think with the people that I know and I love and I trust, like my family and then our little group, I'm like, okay, whatever, like, make the jokes. Because, like, people will be like, oh, my foot fell asleep, and I'm like, oh, me too, but it's been 4 years. You know, like, it's funny, because, like, it's not going to change, so laugh at it, because...
If we don't laugh, I'll cry about it.
Well, yeah, you gotta laugh at it, because, you know, it's funny. It's not funny.
It can be. There are moments
you have
to
make it
ridiculous.
Funny. You have to be joyful about your circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make it good. At least that's how I've made it through. But I think if you and I are friends, then yes, please joke with me. But if I don't know you,
okay, pause. Joke with me, not
at me. Yes,
that is there's a difference.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to recognize the difference between laughing with me and laughing at me.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Okay. I put things not to ask, but we kind of covered that in the last one. And
well, is there any that you want to echo?
That are look. Sorry about my paper.
Important.
We kind of did things not to say. So things not to ask. Do you have anything?
I don't think so. I feel like we covered
a lot of it.
A good part of it.
Just listen to the last podcast. Yeah. And then I have questions to ask that I personally love. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 5. I have 5. If you ask me these, then give me a really big hug, because I love you.
Ooh,
so
before we move on, though, can you hug someone with a disability?
Personally, I love hugs. Right now, wear your mask and then hug me.
Okay, because I will say, if somebody is using crutches, please don't hug them. They will probably fall.
Yeah.
If someone's using a walker, please don't hug them. They will probably fall.
A cane, hug them, side hug.
Side hug with a cane? Okay.
That's how I do it.
I would still be scared to hug someone with a cane. And I think it's because of my own, not insecurity, but, like, I'm not a very stable person.
I just
anyway.
love hugs. So any way that I can get them, I'm like, I know COVID is real and it's here, but wear your mask and hug me, vaccinate yourself, and I love you.
She's a hugger.
I am a hugger.
I will say, because of my pain, I am not a hugger because it can physically hurt me. But something that my friends do, and you do, it's just makes me feel so good, is we do the lean hug, where they just, like, lean into my arm and I lean back, and then that's enough. Because I can't handle a full-on hug sometimes. But I think that's important just wanted to highlight that real quick. Because I think sometimes that can be dangerous, and people may not, like, realize that.
It,
But that can be a dangerous thing to hug someone who may be using a mobility aid.
And I think that's boundaries as well. Like, learning boundaries and listening. You know.
I do appreciate it, though, when people ask to hug me. Even though I look fine, I know, but I'm in pain.
Yeah.
So ask to hug, I think that's a good, like, cover your bases. Okay,
so
continue.
don't hug Ari, hug me.
Yeah.
I'll wave. The hugs.
I'll wave.
Okay, so questions to ask that I personally love, and hug me, please. First one.
Okay.
Is it okay if I ask about you and your illness?
Yes. Please.
If you ask it that way, I'm like, you're giving me boundaries.
You're giving us the control.
Respect.
You're showing hey, I know that you don't feel good,
mm-hmm.
but I care and I want to know.
Mm-hmm. And I want to learn about you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That is like a feel good all over kind of moment.
Okay, second one. What is it like? What is it like living? I honestly love that because they're trying to put yourself...
They want to know.
They want to know.
It's validating.
Yeah, they want to get married. I'm just kidding.
They want to make sure, if they want to make sure they can be in your life long term. Because if they don't want to be in your life long term, then that won't cross their mind.
Yeah.
But if somebody's like, what is your day like? Like, what is it like? Tell me. Yeah, that makes me feel validated, seen, heard, cared about,
It makes
loved.
me feel mushy-gushy inside. I'm like, Okay, 3. What would be helpful for me to know and learn about your disability?
These specific questions that are, like, specific to the individual are, like, vital in having a relationship with someone with a disability.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, you can be like, oh, how's your day? And that's so vague, and we ask everyone that. Like, it's great. How's yours? Like, it's just not very intimate. And so when you ask questions like that, I mean, that's showing you genuinely care about me. Yeah. Which I don't want to be like, not a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't recognize taking it a step further how important that is. Yeah. Especially
someone. Researching, like...
Oh my gosh. If somebody, like, Googles my illness, I'm, like, gonna cry.
And then the next one, what do most people get wrong about your illness or not know about your illness? Like, that gives you a chance to, like, tell them how you really feel. Hello? Like...
Yes. What was the last one? Read it again.
This one? What do most people get wrong about your illness or not know?
I think a lot of people forget that we're sick because we look okay. And so I think acknowledging that is important to me too. Yeah. Random, but...
how can I support you? That makes me swoon.
Really?
Yes, because, like... just be there. Yeah. Supporting me is just like being there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And
what you said.
The last one is just like, I'm proud of you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when someone says like, I see how hard you work or things like that. Because I think personally, being a disabled person, like, I never, and this is something I'm dealing with on my own journey, blah, blah, blah. But I always feel like I'm not enough, and that's just a constant thing that I deal with. Yeah. And so when someone acknowledges, like, they see how much work I put into something, like, that puts me, like, over the moon, like, I've done it. Like, yes. Yeah. Someone sees how hard I'm working, because an invisible illness, people don't remember that you're sick a lot of the time. And so I know sometimes I have to, like, re-explain my illness to the same person, which I know people have had to do with me because I've forgotten. Yeah. But, like, that's just a normal thing that happens. So, yeah.
I love hearing I'm proud of you because, like, I don't know. Even if you've not done anything.
Well, like, we have to put a lot more effort into, like, existing is a little bit harder, I think. Yeah. And I don't want to, like... not acknowledge, like, everyone. Like, it's hard to survive as a person in this world. Yeah. But with a disability or chronic illness, it just adds an extra layer of, like, stuff that you have to deal with. So
I think the one thing about my parents that I love is that I won't even be doing anything, and they'll just be like, I'm proud of you. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I love you.
That's so sweet.
But I don't know. I think that's not even a question, but it's more of a statement. Yeah. Okay.
I have a couple.
Okay, yeah, go.
So something that I think everyone, when someone tells me this, I'm just like, and my friends will be like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. And I'm like, really? They're like, yes. So acknowledging that you see them, that's simple, but really makes me feel loved. And then compliments.
Yes.
That's for people in general.
I'm not good at accepting compliments. That's not my love language.
I guess mine is. I don't know. But complimenting people in general, yes. But I work really hard to put my outfits together. And as a woman, I want you to notice.
I don't.
So, yeah, compliments about, like, just showing up and being there is a big deal to me. And then I have one more. So, please invite me to things. And if we can't go, like, that's okay. But still invite us. Yeah. And then if you think that we won't be able to go, still invite us. If you think we're going to be sick, still invite us. If you think we can go, invite us. Don't assume that I'm going shopping and she won't be able to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still invite.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves is, especially in high school, I would never get invited to anything because they were like, oh, she's sick.
And you don't know. You don't know for sure. Yeah. And being, disabled and sick and all of that stuff, we miss out on a lot. And so after a while, it probably gets annoying to other people that we keep canceling. But we cancel, but not because, like, we're flaky. We're literally sick in bed, not feeling good. So, I don't know. Still invite us anyways. That's what I had down.
So do you want to move to top 10s?
Oh, yes, always.
So our top 10s this week are things you can say, which I have to preface this. When I was looking up things, which is sad that I had to look up things, but people...
There's just so many things to not say.
Well, that, and, like, let me just say, I looked up things you can say, which I'm a human being. I should just be like, what I've heard and, like, what I like to hear. That sounds weird. Like, whatever. But what I saw was like, hi, how are you? How has your day been? What are you doing today?
We're not fine.
Hello? Like, that's just a normal conversation.
Yeah.
Okay? That was strange.
I think the majority of people are just scared and don't know how to talk to us, which
I hate.
Is weird.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because they don't know what to do somehow. Like, somehow they forget how to speak.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, yes, it's awkward, but, like, so is
literally,
life. I don't
just
know.
speak. Like, you wouldn't know until you said hello. That's a new logo.
How would you know until you say hello?
Okay. What's your number one?
Okay, so my number one is tell me more about your illness, which I think we already talked about, but ask me specifics about it. Yes. Ask me what my number is. When people ask me what my number is, I'm like, oh.
I love that. And I like now that it's more of a popular thing, not just in the doctor's office, because I don't go in. I mean, you go into the doctor's office and they're like, what's your number? But, like, now that our friends do it, and, like, yeah, I really love that. My number one, I can't read my handwriting. We just talked about this. When people say, don't feel bad that you have to cancel plans, I understand. I got a text that said that last week, and I about cried because this person is the sweetest person on the planet Earth. And I had to cancel plans with her twice last week. And she was like, don't worry, it's okay. And I was like, I love you dearly.
Yes, when people, like, remind me, hey, it's okay. Yeah. Like, it's okay to be, like, it's almost like, not that we need permission to be sick, but it's almost like, okay, like.
But it's just, like, the validation of, like, knowing that they're not upset with you. You know, and that just feels good to know that you've built those relationships and, like, you have those people surrounding you, and, like, knowing that even if I cancel plans, they're not going to be angry with me.
Yeah, because something that people don't know is that when you have a chronic illness or disability, you push through your pain, so you live life, but, like, in extreme pain all the time. And so when I cancel plans, it's because I'm extremely sick. It's not because I'm not feeling well. It's because I'm very sick. So, yes, when someone acknowledges
Yeah.
that.
And it was so sweet just to know that, like, I built that relationship and, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are hard to come by, relationships where you feel comfortable enough to be like, I can't make it today.
Amen.
And you're still friends, and you can still talk, and, like, nobody takes it personally.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay.
What's your next one?
What's your next one?
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Let's see, I already said, tell me about your illness. Did I say I'm happy to see you? Because that's one that I had down, but I think I already said that.
Yeah, but I still love it.
Okay, well, I'll say it again. I'm happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you too.
Aw.
My number 2 is, you look good, but how is your pain?
Yes.
I love
Acknowledge that I look put together, and then acknowledge that you know that
you
I'm...
always look put together. I always look like a trash bag.
No, shut up. No, you don't. But just acknowledge you remember, you know. Just
Yeah.
being seen.
Yeah. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's your number 3?
Are we on number 4?
I don't know. I'm on number 3.
Okay, I'm on number 4. What is your pain like today? Ask me
I feel
specifically
like
about it.
that question is just like, I guess I shouldn't speak because we don't have a video.
No, we don't.
But
she's
just
touching
like
her heart.
strikes me through the heart. Swoon.
But if you do ask that question, please be prepared for like dramatic, hard to hear answers, because I know sometimes like people aren't ready for what I'm about to tell them.
Yeah.
Because it's not pretty. So if you do ask that, just prepare yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
Or like genuinely be ready to hear about it.
Yeah. I just had brain fog. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
Number 3 for me is, I just wanted to check up on you. The next day, after the day that we couldn't meet, my friend texted me and was like, I just wanted to check up on you. And I was like, it just means the world to me, honestly.
Shout out to our friends that are out there right now who
we love to
tell us these things on a regular basis.
It just really means the world that, like, you think about me. Because I forget that, like, I'm a person. And, like,
I'm
really
just a medical issue.
Not that, but, like, I forget that, like, I'm, like, people think about me. Does that make sense?
Like, you get kind of occupied with your pain all the time?
No.
Because I do that.
I forget that, like, people can think about me, and, like I'm not the only person that can text. Does that make sense? I don't even know. But, I don't know. I just get my own little bubble.
It's hard. I guess it's hard to remember that you have friends sometimes. Is that what you mean?
No.
No? Okay. Well, maybe we'll just move on, because I don't know either. So my next one is, I see your work. Great job.
I love that.
Because I'm an artist, and so when people like keep up with my work online, you can look at my handles down below. But yeah, when people see the work I put out.
Yeah. Especially, like, when you're feeling sick or you're flaring and, like, you get to take the time, well, not always, but when I'm sick, I like to take the time to make earrings, and, but sometimes, you know, it takes up most of my energy, but people still, you know, take the time to tell me, like, it's beautiful, or, like,
I see you
just
working,
you know,
I see you creating. Great job.
Yeah. Just even the smallest comment.
Just like the post. That's all. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Just like the post.
My number 4. Is there anything I can do for you?
Okay, so this one for me is actually triggering.
Really?
Yes, because I have people who will continually ask me like what they can do for me, but don't ask me that unless you will actually follow through and do the things that I ask of you. Which I don't know, it's just something that I've dealt with in the past, and so if I tell you things to do, please do them.
Yeah.
Or don't ask me if you don't want to do them.
Well, I think if you ask that, you should follow through.
Yes.
Well, most people
apparently
should.
Some people don't. Like, I think it's an automatic thing. Like,
well, yeah.
We'll be like, hey, how are you? Good. How are you? Can I do something for you? No. Okay, great. Bye. Like, you know, it's such a fast, like, you know, kind of on autopilot thing.
Yeah.
But for us, it's not autopilot.
Well, I think if you are going to take the time to be like, which it doesn't really take that much time. But I think if you're gonna say that, follow through.
Yeah.
Because that's respectful.
Oh.
But yeah, I hate that. But at the same time, like, I'm gonna always follow through if you ask me that.
Me too.
So,
but I think just in general, please follow through if you want to ask that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good one.
What's yours?
Okay, mine is I hear you.
It's almost like you're valid.
Yes.
And
a lot of that goes with, like, if you ask me about my illness, it's gonna go in. It may run along for a little while, and you probably don't understand. But if you tell me I hear you, then that kind of acknowledges that you were listening to my long story, or you were listening to my health stuff that you probably won't understand, but you hear. You know, I don't know. So I put that one down.
Yeah, that one's a really big one. I don't know what to say. I wish I knew what to say, but I'm here for you. Which is
similar. I like it when people acknowledge, like, they don't know.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people kind of try to relate, and you can't. Yeah. Like, there are some circumstances where you just can't relate to the other person.
I understand. I'm like, no, you don't. But it's okay. It's okay.
Yes,
and it's okay that you don't understand. I just want you to hug me.
There's nothing
really
wrong with not understanding.
Touch.
Yeah.
So,
there's nothing wrong if you don't understand. That's normal.
Yeah. And that's okay. I feel like I sound like the TikTok. It's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
What's your, I don't know what number we're on.
I don't either, but I have a couple more. Mine is, I'm here for you. Just let me know. I'm here for you. Invite me, and that's it. That's all I have.
Like 4 more.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Tell me how I can help.
Yes, but don't ask unless you're willing to help.
Yeah, please. You've been on my heart or mind.
Oh, that's nice.
I love that one. Because I'll get, I'll get a text and it'll just be like, you're on my heart, I'm praying for you. But, like, if you're going to say I'm praying for you, please pray for me. Don't just say that and then leave it empty. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're
like
gonna
a follow up.
Yeah, like actually follow through and like, please pray for me. Like, if I'm gonna tell you what's going wrong, don't just like ask me for gossip. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because a lot of people do that.
Be serious about it. Be proactive. Follow up.
And then I put I'm so proud of you, because that one like is so good. I love that one. And it's like so small, but still.
Yeah,
so
it's
so
the
good.
small things that matter.
Is,
and
really.
When you have a chronic illness or a disability, like, everything is a small thing. Like, the smallest of things are what make the biggest impact for me. Like, if someone's like, hey, can I bring you XYZ? Or, like, just, I don't even know, like, comment on a post I made.
Yeah.
Because you know that I'm probably sick
at
home. Like, you know.
Yeah.
That kind of
Don't
thing.
make a big basket. Just bring me a coffee.
Oh, better yet, bring me a coffee, put it on the doorstep, and then leave. Especially with the whole COVID situation.
Yeah.
Just leave it at the door. Text me that it's there, and that's I think one of the kindest things that you can do for someone.
Yeah, COVID is scary. I don't know what we have. I think that's all I had.
I think that's all
we
I
do
have
a
too.
story.
Yes,
that
we do.
Terrified me. So
what happened to you, Haley? What happened?
Yesterday, we went to Shadrack's, which is a coffee shop in town, non-sponsored.
But if y'all want to sponsor us, let us know.
Please. But we went to Shadrack's, and we were drinking coffee, and this spider came down from the ceiling, and it landed on my head, and then it crawled on my shirt, and I like grabbed it, and I threw it away, and then it like climbed on my face, and then I like grabbed it, and I threw it away again, and I thought it went on my nose, and I was like, Ari, is there a spider on me? And she was like, no, and I was like, are you sure? And so the whole time we thought there was a spider on me, and I still feel like it's crawling all
Yeah,
over
I
me.
did too. I had like heebie-jeebies.
And then there was a web from the ceiling, I don't know why I'm pointing, to my head. And it had like made a whole web like to my hair. So last night I went home and I washed my hair.
I've never seen a spider crawl as fast as that one.
It was so fast. It was like Spider-Man.
Radioactive. It was very fast, and I was trying to like maintain composure because the coffee shop was really quiet. So this whole time Haley's like, "Oh my gosh, there's a spider!" And
I
then,
literally don't care. I will be loud, and you can be composed. But it was a spider.
like, yeah. So that happened.
Yeah. So what was your favorite part of this week?
My favorite part of this week. That's a good question. I'm trying to remember what happened this week. Oh, I got this really cute top at TJ Maxx.
I love that.
Yeah. Love that for me too.
We're going to the lake tomorrow, and
times.
we're probably just gonna sit in the house and read books. Well, I'll read the books. She's probably just gonna sit and do graphic design.
As always,
Or
because I don't have a work-life balance.
But I think that is all we have.
Is that all?
That's
Are we
all
done?
I have.
I'm done too. I'm gonna stop talking now.
Okay, bye!
Okay, bye!